Welcome back, you guys. We're going to begin this final challenge with your opportunity to connect these letters into words, and you can use any pen that you want for this project. The paper shows a brush pen. You can use whatever you want. I'm personally going to use the Sharpie. We've been talking about exit strokes, and you can see here that all of these exit strokes are parallel. And each one of these exit strokes are also the same length. And depending on how long your exit stroke is, that will determine how far apart your letters are. So you want to keep them consistent so that your letters and spacing in between your letters are equal distance. This M has an exit stroke, but that exit stroke is actually the entrance stroke or the lead-in stroke to this I. And you'll also notice that my M and my N, they're also parallel with the exit stroke. That gives a clean, crisp spacing between all of them, and it's extremely even. I did want to show you why it is so important to not only keep your exit strokes and lead-in strokes parallel, but also keeping them the same length. Let me go on ahead and give a perfect example here for you. Okay, you could see where this right here comes off. I feel like it has almost a juvenile look to it because these letters here have extra spacing there. These ones right here are super close together. These ones are super close together. This is far apart from one another. There's just no consistency in this as opposed to doing I'm even going to do bouncy letters so that you can see my point. If you'll notice, even when I do bouncy letters, if you keep your exits the same direction, you still get something very cohesive. Here I kept it all on the exact same baseline, and there is no consistency because my exit strokes are going in different directions and they're not kept consistently the same length. Here are some tricky connectors when creating your letters that turn into words, and we've spoken about having to keep our exits and lead-ins or entrance strokes. They all start at this baseline right here at the bottom, and they all connect, and it looks very neat and consistent, correct? Well, then you're also going to have words like this, where you're not on the baseline, and they're way up here. How are you going to keep it consistent? It's going to take thinking about the second letter as you're writing the first letter, and how am I going to connect these? And you're going to want to remember to give yourself that space. You have to be very purposeful in this. You're having to be purposeful with them all. But sometimes word letters can be a little bit more difficult in their spacing. You're still going to notice that these guys all have still the same distance or lengths that help keep the letters consistently spaced. So sometimes it just means thinking, if I'm going to create this W, how do I want to connect it to that O? If you don't like this look because it looks just so perfect and you want to be more whimsical, how else can you do it? Well, you can get a little creative and do your W like this. You can create it where your O comes down. Excuse me, let me get my pen working. You can do something along that line. It just means altering your letters. If you don't like the way that they're going to be stacked, then get creative and have a little fun with your letters so that number one, it becomes more your personality, but number two, that it still keeps that consistent spacing in between. Okay, guys, your final challenge, if you so accept it, is just practicing your letters in any format. You can use the papers provided or not, and the idea is just be using your exit strokes, your lead-in strokes. Remember your spacing. It's just practice from here on out. You guys have learned the basics, the foundations, and now you can go on ahead and start creating beautiful letters. Have fun.